Hello, everybody, and welcome to Truth Proof. And how are you doing, Les? Are you all right?
Well, just like you, Paul, I'm just going over visiting the conference near Manchester yesterday, which was absolutely, I've got to say from the get-go, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and great people, great bunch of people there interested and showing support for conference and for speakers. I thought it was great, and as you know, I mean, I travelled back with Linny and Elaine and Mary earlier today. Had a bit of a running about, but it's good to just come and have a bit of a recap and a bit of a sum up of what we thought at conference. Linny, that was a surprise for everybody, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was great. Absolutely amazing. And I had no doubt that it weren't going to be anything short of that. I'd said to Steve Mayer, same, but way before. So you're going to like this.
And I got to say, just from the outset, thanks for everybody who came up to meet and greet me, and with fair handshakes, but only kisses for the ladies. And some of you had some really fair handshakes, just on par with Linny's. So that's great.
God,
we're
on handshake job, are we?
To meet you all, yeah.
Yeah, all good, all good. And before we jump to bringing Linny in and get his thoughts and views on yesterday, let's just have a look in here, shall we? See, Martin Abbas is there. Steve 071, Tonya were there. Good to meet you, Tonya. Let's have a look. Liam were there. Honestly, it was great to meet you all. Let's have a look. Jill Olsen. Hi, Jill. John Alexander. I'm sure I know who you are, Jill. Yeah. Bill 9999. Denise Fox, Studio 21. Andy, Rob Hilton, Karen Behrman. I do it every week. Why do I do that? I'm just going to say Karen. Let's have a look. Andy H. And you're great to meet, Andy. So many people who are in this chat now. NM Grandma, I think Mrs. Linney is indefinitely, and Mia Girl will be in Scotch Miss. Pete will be watching from sidelines. Good luck for tomorrow, mate. And you know what we mean. Ginger's in. Good to meet you. Beer Monster. Let's have a look. Bob, is that our Bob? Lee's doing moderating, so thanks, Lee. Bumps in the night, and I'm going to stop now, people. But we've 150 people over in chat already, so apologies for Zeno. They tell you what, I like foot conference for me, meeting Zeno. Really enjoyed meeting that kid, brilliant. Honestly.
Yeah.
What a nice lad. Everybody were good. Lee, Cheers Stargazer. And let's jump into it. Come on.
Okay, let's bring Lenny. He's having his beer.
How are you doing, Ian?
All right, Ian.
Yeah, you caught me off guard there, having a little sip of me shandy.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt now and again, does it? You had a shandy last night or two, and it were well deserved. It were a great talk that you did, and I think people. I don't think anybody could have come away from that talk thinking, "I didn't enjoy that," because it were good, and I'm sure you'll get asked to do some more.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I mean, it was like I said at the end of the presentation that you helped me a lot with that and give me guidance through it and helped with some of the visuals and all the rest of it. And there's quite a bit of time that's been spent in there because it wasn't scripted. We just had to follow it, look at the visuals, and then because it's all in here. I personally think it was a lot easier for me than it was for you because you're having to recount times and dates of something that you've been told about, and you're trying to, relay it back to people. And your talk was spot on.
Well, we are lingering on how good it was. I said to Steve Mayer probably 2 or 3 months ago when I were helping you put that together and I was putting visuals in. I said this will be more visually impacting than any talks. I said because that's what the audience want to see. And it worked, and we'll do it again. We'll do it again, and we'll just smash it out at court again. I know we will, because there's so much material that weren't included in, certainly in my talk or in yours. It's not a boast, this people. I see Lorraine's in. Good to see you, Lorraine. Ginge, we've done Ginge. Jonathan Chapman, Liam, Wendy. Good to see you, Wendy. And it's not a boast, this, but I said it yesterday, and I said it to numerous people that. A lot of this footage that's out now, currently sort of spreading all over the world via the social media and the internet, that's purporting to be the best footage out there. Les has looked at loads of it, haven't you, Les?
Yeah.
We've seriously got footage better than what's out there. The only difference is we're not being vocal about it. So I'm going to start putting this out, and I'm going to connect with the right people, and we'll get this footage out there, and then they can know what some real unexplained phenomena footage is. Not just talk about it, and let's get it out there.
I think for me, when Linny gave this speech, and we've got to stress it was the first ever presentation you've done, Linny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
certainly.
And that to me is remarkable in itself. But I think what it brings to the table, guys, is that Linny was prepared to lay his life down, for want of a better phrase, of his experiences. And I think once you get people like Linny doing that, I think this opens the doors further down the line for more people to easier talk about their experiences themselves and give us more information, and for us to get our heads around this subject.
I would agree, Les. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, like I did say in the start of me talk, it's not just me standing up there telling a story. It was my personal interaction with this unknown other in various ways, shapes, and forms. And then obviously the bit that happened on the cliff tops, and why I still, and I'm a firm believer that because of that emotional state that I was in prior to being up there, is why I had a big target on my back, and whatever it is thinking, his guard's down, we're going to have him, and I'm going to have a nit at him, and the rest is, we all know what happened then.
It likes to play, doesn't it? That's what it does. It likes to play, and it likes emotions, and mixed up emotions is what it seems to thrive on. We've noted it, haven't we? So I think you're on the money with that.
So do you think, in general, Lenny, that people emotionally at a low ebb, you're one of the biggest targets for this phenomena?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from talking to other people that's been up there and that's experienced things, is especially the negative side of it. Because I've said before, if you go up there and you have a real good, it's a good experience. You're looking around. Let's say you go up there in the daytime or the nighttime, and you see some seabirds or some owls or something.
Yeah.
You say, "Oh, that's nice. I really enjoyed myself up there." But then, if you're up there and you're a little bit down, let's say, and you come away really fed up or worse, you're not going to start talking about it and telling everyone, "Oh, I went up there and I felt really down." And I think this thing screws you down and tries to pin you down, and whatever else it is, whether it gets something back from it, you know what I mean, or we don't know who's to know what it gets out of it. I think you're just more of a target than you go up there happy. I mean, we did pick up something. I picked up something. I spoke to Paul about it. What the two people from Scotland was talking about. If people are sort of like happy and loud and joyous, let's say, in their ways, some of the spirits seems to like this. So when we have the EMF meters up there, and then we have our bit of humour, and we're laughing and giggling and whatever, like we had, I mean, a bunch of idiot men sort of thing on the northeast coast, freezing, having a bit of dark humour with each other, and the EMFs go off because we're laughing. We're not all stood there like sad sacks, just looking out into the darkness, hoping to catch a glimpse of something. And when we are like that, usually the EMF meters are quiet. So we have a bit of a laugh, and then it picks up. But if we was all up there sad, let's say one of us is telling someone a really sad story or someone was in grievance, would the EMF then start bouncing around? Because we're not going to go up there and tell sad stories and see what the EMF meter does there, because it's not fair for people to, relate to a story about a loss or a bereavement or something.
It's usually, isn't it? It's usually it don't catch you unaware, but it's the unexpectedness of the conversation. And then when you just pause for a minute and you realize the content of the conversation, you're looking, sometimes we put in these EMF meters at a good distance away, so we're clear of any electrical. I know we've stressed this before, guys, or we put them on a monopod in a field and they're just left to run. And so you forget about them.
Yeah.
But then the conversation turns, and the content of the conversation, when it gets to that dark humour, if it does sometimes, you look, and then you analyse what you've just been talking about, and you think, yeah, it's done it again. And it's startling that it keeps doing it. Unfortunately, we probably wouldn't be able to play what we'd been talking about in conjunction with EMF readings. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they like swearing on YouTube and stuff, do they? And I do occasionally swear odd times, and you do, don't you?
I mean, it was quite funny, really. Sort of like when I played some of the footage from the dashcam footage of me and you, our conversation, just after some of the things that happened. I mean, really, yeah, everyone's an adult there. Everyone's going to, I mean, they're going to be swearing at some point. But I think that bit come across because they can hear you swearing in the background. And there's a little bit of me swearing in the background. Not that I do swear very much, so like all the time. But they can hear you, and it's because it's not edited. It's raw. It's how it's happened.
Visceral. Yeah, it's real. That's how it happened.
It's literally, it just happened, and you come across to me animated, and did you see that and whatever, and it was good, and there was a good reaction from people. They enjoyed that. It wasn't reading from a piece of paper and saying, "Hey, Linny, did you see this?" And there was
the thing were as well, and just while we're on that little bit, when I started putting PowerPoint together, we deliberately left that in because we could have just shown flash of light, but I think it was important to show reaction afterwards because the first flash of light, people could have said, "Oh, it were raining. It could have been your brake lights." But like you said, you can't see your own brake lights. And I saw this and stopped my car and told you. And I realised there'll be some in chat that don't know what we're on about. But I said we must play that end bit because it obviously shows the effect that it had on me. Yeah. So it worked. So I hope you guys get to see all of that. I hope at some point Steve edits it and gets it into some kind of format that he wants and puts it out there.
Yeah, and just while we're talking about that, I'm just going to bring this up from Jonathan Chapman. Hi, Paul. Will your Awakening presentation be made available at some point? I couldn't make the conference yesterday, unfortunately. And just to reiterate what Paul says, Steve Meara did the official recording. So obviously, we've got some local recordings, but we don't want to step on anybody's toes at this point. No. So it's whenever Steve Meara releases that footage is when it will be available.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
But having said that, we grabbed a few little bits in there. It don't give any parts of the presentation away, and I think probably it'd be a good juncture now to get that 2-minute film. Yeah. So what we'll do, folks, we shot a little bit of footage yesterday. So for anybody who didn't turn up, you can see how it was all laid out, and for anybody who was there, it'll just remind you again what happened yesterday. So let's bring that on to the stage.
So I'm going to start off with just a little bit about myself. It's not a boast, it's nothing like that. I've seen and experienced things from as far back as I can really remember, and more so in my adult years and up to the present day, and very recently. So I'm just going to start off here. I was saying before Benton and before Benton, or whichever way around it is, because it started for me well before Benton. This is taken from Paul's camera. It's just the Psionics camera, letting you know roughly where we stand on a reasonably regular basis. This is actually in the darkness. And you can see these cliffs, 300 to 400, over 400 foot in places. What I'm going to start off with is this is a place called Catfus. And obviously Catfus welcomes drivers, doesn't it? Careful drivers, and that won't be that bent the sign. Anyway, RAF Catfus. I was brought up in the city. My dad was working and he was on call. A lot of people maybe won't know where this place is. It's a place called Friday-Thorpe, and it's sort of like smack bang in the middle of the Yorkshire Wolds. What Catfus used to be, I think it was 1963, was for a certain period of time there was nuclear missiles at that site.
They would show me the money. They'd show me the bits of money that had fallen down from the sky. And it was the one that made me think the most of it was when my dad came back home one night and it was petrified.
So the phenomena bites back, but rather than just listen to Nick, let Andrew tell us as well. So I don't want to labour on it, but there is an intent to this. This guy's taunting it and calling it names. He's already been warned, and it manages to hurt him. So here's Andrew just recalling that night.
And I turned my head, and as I turned my head, this coin, and I can't remember what coin it was. I could see it coming towards my head. It went right at my head, and it forward.
Are they telling the truth? I think they are. Thank you very much.
So there we go, guys.
A few little snippets. Yeah, and as I say, a lot in chat will have seen that. I see Fortian's in, and good to see you yesterday. Simon Riley bumps in the night. Jonathan Chapman. Can't help doing this. It's a bit addictive, isn't it? Carl and Sarah were there. Yeah, stop now. Tino, that's it. Go on, let's.
Yeah, and Lee Roscoe, and great to see you, Lee, and thanks for all the support as always, as we always say every week. Paul Sinclair has put Hummy on the map with that speech yesterday.
Yeah, well, it's just a case that it's got loads of mileage in it. It doesn't matter that it's nearly 30 years old. If it's never been brought to public attention, there's got to be a paper trail for this. There's got to be more witnesses. That's what I think.
Yeah, and let's have a look. Here's a good question, actually, in general, nothing to do with the conference. It's from Bob. Has anyone heard of any people changing their religious views due to any strangeness? That's
a good question, that, isn't it? I'll just kick that around in my head a little bit, but I've not really. And is that because they've invested, the truly religious people, might I add, because I suppose just because our Christian and our Church of England I'm not really that religious, am I? But the people of such a deep faith, would they want to change their views if they're already entrenched in a religion? It would take something really, really profound, I reckon, in their lives to make them think that they'd been on the wrong path for many, many years. What's your views, Ian?
No, unless it, like you're saying, and something really came out and it came forward that all that they'd believed in for all these hundreds, if not thousands of years, was proof to them that it was all wrong, it was all artificial or fake or whatever. I can't see someone who's right into religion just changing for something that easily. No. Maybe someone who's on the fringes of it might think, well, yeah, I don't believe in all that now because this has happened or that's happened. But I think talking about religion is very personal to some people and very offensive, and I think we should really stay away from trajectory towards that, I think.
Right, Ken Wilkinson. Hi, good. Let's just read this bit though before we leave it. I became a Catholic after a supernatural experience with Freemasonry. Long story, Ken Wilkinson, and we both know Ken. Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting, Ken. I mean, I don't know how detailed you'd want to talk about that, but at some point. And I've still got Ken's partner's story to relay to you guys, which is incredible if you'll allow me to do that. That's brilliant. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's have a look at this one from Zeno. Welcome to the show, Zeno. And Zeno, Ian was very courageous to open up for the first time about something as powerful as what he went through. It personally disturbed me, but he was able to get through the goosebumps. Spot on, Ian.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, thank you, Zeno. I mean, I know we've mentioned it yet. I mean, well, we mentioned Zeno quite a few times, and we was all looking forward to meeting him. I mean, we didn't know whether it was a him or it was a hair. But always comes across and puts really deep-thoughted and good questions into the chat. So, yeah, and what a lovely fella, yeah.
It's unusual that we're both saying that, and I think Les says the same. I think everybody who met you yesterday, Zeno, come away thinking, yeah, what a top man. Yeah, you're absolutely great to be around, and thought-provoking as well. That's striking. I think Martin Abbas come away thinking the same as well.
Yeah, he should change his name to maybe Jekyll and Gino.
Yeah.
Jekyll and Zeno, sorry. He knows what we're talking about there.
Yeah. Rick Bennett, good to see you, Rick. And Zaffoid. I'm sorry for pronouncing that wrong, but I just kept seeing that name, so I had to say it. Defo Paul, top lad. I thought you'd think that, Martin. Thank you. Go on then, Les. Hit us with another.
Draco is saying strangeness is usually associated with the demonic.
Not always, I wouldn't think. You know, I mean, but I would go with it. We seem more drawn to the things that impact us and frighten us. I'll give you that. But I mean, strange things occur that are absolutely angelic and euphoric for people, and it's still strangeness, and you come away feeling like in wonderment. But I get where you're coming from. That's the word demonic and the strangeness that surrounds the darker side of it. What frightens us sort of captures his attention more, probably.
Yeah, okay. I think it's similar to what I was saying earlier on. I think you remember something scary than something nice. I mean, you nice summer's day and you just feel happy. You know what I mean? I feel really, really good today. You forget about it. But if you felt really cheesed off, let's say, or scared, you're more likely to remember that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, then. And thanks for the question, Draco. Let's have a look. Simon, show this one. Hi, Paul. Know you've been busy with a conference, but just wondering if you have any more thoughts on the Danesdyke video we sent.
Now then, Simon, I've been sent a few, so please just tell me in chat. I'm sorry, because I just gain loads and loads all the time. I know we got the orb moving, which were fascinating, but I also got the sound, the really unusual sound, which I've put into Resolve and I've put it on a loop, and that is awful, sort of gut-wrenching sound, and you heard a lot more of it before you even thought to record it. So if those are the two, please correct me on which one. Loads of thought on them, to be honest with you, and the sounds, because I've been sent a lot of sounds. I'm thinking, what can we do with all these sounds? They're a little bit more visceral, if it's that what you're on about, than just a dog barking. These are really strange. And we saw the orb as well. And if it's the orb, we played it the other week. If it's the orb, then that were different, weren't it? Because it seemed to come towards us, didn't it? I don't know what people in chat thought about that. Lots of thoughts on it, yeah.
Okay, back to the conferences. Mark, DB, TP team, will you be doing any other conferences this year?
I got an email from somebody, I'll not say who it is today, asking me if I'd do a conference, and I'd definitely be putting Linny's name forward as well. And it's, I'm not going to say it because they've not announced it yet, but I've just got an email that they said they were tentatively reaching out to see whether I'd consider it. So we'll have a look.
Wow. Gradually creeping onto the map, Linny, of notoriety or notability. That's the word. Or maybe in the first word. I don't know.
Thanks, Les. Thank you. It's probably both.
That's all right.
Probably both.
Well, what's different about what he'll be talking about, Ian, and what I'll be talking about, I would think, is that we'll not be talking about the same thing. Whereas you get a lot of these conferences, and the people that speak there, by the way, are brilliant. But for the most part, they're covering the same subject. We know we're all covering the same subject, the unexplained phenomena, but covering some of them just make a living just going to conference, telling the same story. That must be pretty boring for people listening.
I mean, here's a general question then for either of you, really. Yeah. Do you think your Rendlesham accounts, they've all been played out now? Do you think there's anything new to come from any of that? Is there any different angles that people can come from? How can we make a story all these years later other than what's already been told?
Well, it's a great question, Les, isn't it? From my point of view, that's what's needed. Unless we could get some new evidence, and I know that people are looking for it, but new evidence, then yeah, they are pretty much played out. And let's face it, I mean, some of the people that are talking on the Rendlesham circuit, should we say, were real popular, weren't it, years ago?
Yeah.
These players who are telling the same story, why weren't they looking and saying, and you know something, in 1978 this happened and I spoke to this witness and here's a little recording of these people talking about it, or this is where it was, and just packing loads more meat around the strangeness that was the Rendlesham Forest incident, just beefing it up a bit and making it more interesting. People pay pay to come to conferences to be entertained. And I don't just, it's not like showbiz, but they want to hear as much information as possible about the strange and the unusual, simply because they've got stories of their own. And half at times, some of these conferences don't, and I don't mean one we've just been to, because I thoroughly enjoyed it, but a lot of the time they don't provide anything any more interesting than what our people in chat can talk about.
Yeah. The Rendlesham Forest thing, I mean, for me, I mean, I read that in the newspaper, 40 plus years ago, whatever it was. But I think some of the researchers that's looked into it now, I know there is quite a few of them, and Paul knows a few of them personally. Have they actually been there door knocking and poking about around the places where people aren't going to stand up on a pedestal and shout, yeah, well, I've seen some strange things around there. I've lived around there all my life, or I've worked around there, or I never wanted to say anything, but I have said this.
Mm.
So there's still mileage out there. I presume that people will, they've thought, well, why, everybody knows about it, why shall I put my 10 pence where I haven't got nothing to gain by saying I know something about it. Like people's fathers or grandfathers or mothers or sisters might have seen something, and personally and the family know about it, but it's knocking on the doors, isn't it? I mean, the amount of times that you two have said that you've been out to places, like the Silthor Saucer.
Mm.
No one had been there and spoke to them people. And there's only a few houses there.
Well, we knew that, Ian, simply because there's only a handful of houses up there. Yeah. Literally, I don't know how many there were. Were they?
I think it was about 12. I think it was about 12, something like that.
And in one of comments, this lady says, when you move here, you're either born here and you stay here, or when you move here, you never leave. It's beautiful up there, but nobody had ever been to speak to them. They'd heard of it, but nobody had ever, even when it were in papers about it, nobody had been to speak to residents of Silthor and you don't expect somebody reading about a UFO account in the Flying Saucer Review or whatever magazine it were out back in the 1950s, 60s. You don't expect them to think, oh Christ, I'm going to jump in a car, I'm going to Silthor Moor and speak to people. Yeah. But as researchers, that's what they should have done. They really should, but it didn't get done.
Everything on the internet and on Google, is it?
No, absolutely.
And just going back to my original question there, my thoughts on the Rendlesham thing, with it being like 40 odd years later, is that the accounts get diluted now after all these years, and the fact that now you're asking children of the parents who originally maybe was a witness to some of this. Then the distortion all weaves its way in over years and years.
Yeah, you've not got first-hand accounts, have you? I'm just looking. There's Laura in. So hi, Laura. That's my daughter. I just wanted to say hello to Laura and Steve 071. I'll shut up now, Mel. That's it. I've done with him now.
Yeah.
Well, while we're just talking about Rendlesham, and because there's I think it's Brent Waters and Mildenhall in it. I got speaking to a chap yesterday who's done his books and whatever, and he was very kind to speak to me, and because I mentioned an RAF person, he gave me a book, and I think it was Lee. Obviously, I haven't read the book yet, but thank you very much for the book. Thank you.
Brilliant. And so let's move on. Andy H, I think he may have something good to say about you, Linny.
Oh dear.
That sketch Linny drew in his presentation looked like an RAF dress uniform with the wings above the top pocket.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I drew that to show my parents and my brother what I'd seen. I mean, so my mum's kept all sorts of stuff that's in a little suitcase with all sorts of old pictures and drawings and things that we made at school and whatever. And that because I'd mentioned it, she rooted about and dug that out for me. And so, yeah, I'm glad it survived, really. But yeah, I believe it's right. The thing that I forgot to mention actually at the conference, because it's just going through your mind, is everything. Is I mentioned it to a couple of people this morning who had been sat outside, was that it seemed strange that why would a coat hanger just be hanging in the corner of a room on the wall? Well, before we moved away from there, someone came who said they'd been stationed there during the war. And what he told us, he said, them blocks of 4 houses upstairs, the military, whoever it was, cut a doorway through in that corner. So that blocks of 4 was all interconnected in case of emergency. And it was like, that's where some of the RAF personnel was billeted. The married quarters there was moved out just before the outbreak of war. When you think about it, it makes sense. You don't want wives and families there. So that makes more sense to me now that it was a coat hanger on a coat hook on the back of a door, which I meant to mention that yesterday, but just to clear that little bit up.
Brilliant.
You had told me about that, so yeah, just to back up what you're saying.
And it's actually Tonya's Tonya, who was praising you. Linny smashing it. Great info, as is Paul's.
Yeah, thank you. It's appreciated. We're just doing what we do, Tonya, and we I don't even know, and I don't think Linny does, that we're putting something out that people are really enjoying. Or let's put it this way, we're just being as honest as we can with it. And it's good that you guys are seeing it and appreciating it, because just back to the footage, and we've got a lot of it. It's time to let people see it instead of this other stuff that we're seeing that's supposed to be the most amazing things out there. Anyway,
flying potatoes.
That one in my head, and you knew it were, so I thought I'm going to stop with that one.
Potato cameras is what you're saying. Yeah. Janet Winslow, have you guys managed to get any radio frequency spectrum data at the same time as seeing orbs on the cliff tops? If so, what data did you get?
No, is the answer to that. And we'd need to take a sort of radio frequency spectrum data analysis expert kind of guy out there, and Les knows who I mean, in the form of Pete Masters, and Pete will probably be watching this. We've still got some work to do with you, Pete. We know that, and we want to get out with you hopefully in the next few weeks. So great question, Janet, and it kind of puts us on the spot, but it makes us realize that there's a lot of other avenues to go down. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. And of course, people on tonight's show are asking about conferences, which is good. And but Tony Worrell is asking, any plans to do a conference down south?
You mean attend one, Tony? Speak at one? I don't know. I've been asked loads of times. I was asked to do Contact in the Desert. I've been asked to do World UFO Congress, and just said no, to be honest with you. But you could change your mind, couldn't you, at some point?
Yeah. Okay. And this one is an old case from Scotch Mist. Peter Laws just covered the Doddleson haunting. People from another town communicated through a computer. Any thoughts, guys?
I don't know.
Are you aware of the case?
I don't know enough about it, Peter, but it's fascinating, and it's. Do you know something? I'm going to have a look into that, and you hear of people hearing voices that through the TV, and I don't mean before people jump on it. Well, that's people talking that aren't actually the ones on the screen and things like that. And messages through the TV. And weren't there some announcement years and years ago? I know it's jumping from Scotch's, like some alien announcement on TV. Somebody's going to have more knowledge of it than me in here, and they're going to tell us about it. Do you know about it?
Yeah, there was one that overtook a news broadcast, and I think there was another one on. There was a weekly show with I can't remember then. People in the chat will know. I know this. People in the chat will tell us where these strange voices came from. Not from where they came from, but what shows they were on, more importantly. Now, the Doddleson haunting, and people fill us in on this, I know they will in the chat. From my memory, I think it was in the 1980s where this guy had got this computer that was relatively new, and this is where he was getting all his messages through this computer. Researchers did research it, but people in the chat just remind me of the outcome because I can't remember. Do you know anything about that, Linny?
No, I think the thing with that type of thing is you've got to have someone who knows what they're doing with that type of technology to be able to interpret it properly. Because it's like a radio, innit? It could be picking up something in the background, and we wouldn't have a clue. Well, I personally wouldn't have a clue.
No,
So
and you know, there is a man. Obviously, he's passed away now. Well, not obviously, but he's passed away. Called Raymond Cass, who was one of the first people to start experimenting. He I think he used to make hearing aids and work with hearing aids. He worked in Hull, but he was actually from Bridlington. And a lot of work that he did were in Bridlington, and he lived what's that near Water Tower? What's that one? What do they call that? What do they call that lane, Ian? On Martin Road. He lived up there anyway, and I think he died in early 1980s. But there's recordings of Raymond Cass out on the internet. So if people want to just Google his name, fascinating man. And I'd love to, we could do a live stream and get some of the stuff, because I know he talked about anomalous lights seen out over the coast and things like that. You know, before his time, this guy, Raymond Cass, and getting EVP recordings and things. So
the reservoir in Mill Lane.
Yes, your Mill Lane. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Not that it makes anything to story,
No.
but it's interesting. Again, another Bridlington man. Do you know? But, there you go.
Okay, then.
Right. Well,
Right.
So Janet Winslow, we'll just get that. Unless you've already put it up, Les. The alien voice was a hoax by pirate radio guy. Just making a point. Thank you, Janet. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the radio one. Yeah, good one. Let's get this up. And if I think I know what Tanya's talking about, the Awakening conference, probably. When is the next one? Well, there's only one man can answer that, Paul, isn't there?
Well, yeah, well, probably Steve Mira, you're saying, Steve would be able to tell us, or Barry, or Camilla, because I think it's a partnership that they've formed into it that works on these things. So I don't know, Tonya. Hopefully there might be another one this year. So just have to see. I think people did enjoy it.
Definitely. And this one, I don't know how far you want to take this one, Lenny, on tonight's show, because we are restricted to time. Where are we now? We've got 20 minutes left in the show.
Yeah,
but run with it any way you want, Lenny. Jane Louise Harding is asking, can Lenny please remind us of his experience at Bempton? I missed it.
I presume she's talking about the one on the hilltop.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think you have put a small short out about that in the past, Paul.
Yeah.
I think you and Les have done a small short. So because we're short on time, and I don't want to chop it down in any way, shape, or form. So I think you're better off just having a look back on that. There is a short. It's a 10-15 minute short.
And suffice to say, Jane, if you ever get up there again with George and Mark, we'll definitely tell you all about it. And we'd love to see you up there, because
definitely.
I was quite impressed with what Mark were picking up on and talking about as well. Not just that, we're lovely to see you anyway, but, interesting.
Okay, Dragonborn is asking, was anything new brought to the table yesterday at the conference?
Well, obviously Ian's talk, because nobody had heard that before. Nobody had heard Hummenbee in as much detail before. There were footage in from Ian. There were footage in from me that nobody had seen before. I can only speak for us two, and I'll chuck it to Ian now. What do you think?
There was none of the footage that I saw was nothing that was going to make me jump up and down and sort of like give me head a shake, let's say. But listening to what some of the speakers was talking about is, the little switches was flicking in me head and thinking, there's possible that and possibly this. Could that explain this away? Like what I can't remember the names now. The two Scott, the married couple,
Nick, Kyle, his wife,
what they said about it was quite in depth, and you've got to really listen. Was the emotional aspect of it, like I mentioned earlier? That was one thing that I thought, that's definitely something.
Okay, let's have a look. Not a question, Medusa is saying, but Les, finally, good to meet you yesterday. Great to meet you as well. Amazing speech by Paul and Lenny. Paul, I've started reading your Truth Proof book 1 today.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you go on with it. And yeah, great stuff. It's kind of inspires me when to just carry on with next one. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. And Conduit 7. Let's have a look. Could EMF meters be triggered by electrical devices like mobile phones, cameras, camcorders, and such devices?
Yeah, they could, of course, yeah. We're aware of it, Conduit 7, and that's why I said earlier that we put these meters away because I don't mean we know exactly how far and the distance, but that's why we put them on a monopod in a field, or we'll put them 20 feet away from us. And we can go up to them with a mobile phone, and you could get within 4 or 5 foot, and you'll see a bit of a reaction. But we're never that close to them. But yeah, good point.
It is a good point, but I mean, I don't think we've really touched upon this. A couple of months back, we had 2 EMF meters on the other side of the fence on the decking where we was.
I know what you're going to say.
It was quite interesting to see them both dancing away, nearly mimicking each other. And while I was watching them, yours fell off. Yours actually come off the fence and fell into the undergrowth. You picked it up, put it back on, and then mine fell off.
Mm.
You picked it up, put it back on, and then they both fell off.
Yeah.
And then mine actually tipped upside down and was right on the edge of the fence like it was going to fall off. And we're all 10, 15 feet away watching this. So it wasn't just like an EMF thing. Yes, it could have possibly been the wind, but it wasn't very windy that night, and they've never done it before. They've never done that.
Well, the horns weren't blowing, and they're pretty square, aren't they? They just sit pretty. Just interesting,
Yeah, that was a good one, was that?
Okay, I've got a comment here. I don't think it's anybody related to you, Lenny, but we'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. Thank you very much, my little chicken George sat there in the background.
Do you know something? I think anybody that said that they're not nervous and they walk into them things, I'm every time I get up and speak, I feel nervous. I have no fear in saying that. Do you know what I mean? I do. Because you stood in front of people and you want to give them the best you can. They've paid money to listen to speakers, and I don't want them to come away thinking, Christ, what have I just listened to? You know what I mean?
No, it was good. I mean, there's one little bit. I don't think it certainly amused me. I was sat at the back at the tables, and Les was just sat across from us. I think you know what I'm going to say now.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah.
He opened his little sandwich box, and he was there with his sandwiches. And Paul just looked at me and went, "Paddington."
It would just wait for dinner.
I had to put my head in, sort of like put my head down, because I just wanted to burst out laughing, which would have been unfair for the speaker who was talking at the time. But yeah, it was like a little Paddington Bear was sat there.
That's it. Well, yeah. I mean, us Yorkshire folk, we never spend a penny. We always bring our packing up and flask. And it was.
Well, and you had a nice meal there, though.
I was tempted by a meal. What I saw on the menu after I was watching you and your wife eating, Paul. So, it kind of.
You had a good day, didn't you, Les?
Oh, brilliant! I always do.
Yeah.
Any of these events that I've been to, and and just keep them coming. I say, and we'll be there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Personally, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, everybody we met was nice people. And apologies if I can't remember who you all was or say hello to you in the chat. But for me, yeah, thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and good to meet you all.
Okay, right then. I think let's have a look. Now, Lisa, I wish I had the guts to come on. I'd love to share what I've captured. The phenomenon I've seen has changed my views on what spirits are and what aliens are.
Brilliant. Well, you're tempting us there, Lisa, aren't you? Let's face it. Why don't you come on, Lisa, and not come on camera if you don't want to, and share it? But it's entirely up to you. Yeah, I'm going to say no pressure, because you've put pressure on yourself by saying that. So, but as much or as little as you want to share.
We've had that a lot of times, haven't we, on the cliff tops, when people have wanted to, they've popped up the first time we've met them, and they've had a story to tell you, and then they say, "Oh well, I feel a bit whatever," and eventually they spit it out and tell you.
Yeah.
And in a few instances, then you can't shut them up, can you? They just spew the guts out, and
it's almost like the corks come off the bottle, which is good, isn't it? Because
it is good. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's have a look then. I know you've answered this one, but I'll put it on the screen from Tina. In superb talk yesterday, thanks. What do you think is the significance of the coat hanger being visible in the jacket, vision projecting from the wardrobe? I know you've answered that earlier on, Lenny.
It was some of that was hung up, and it some? I think in a sense it was possibly something trying to mimic something that was maybe being seen there on a regular basis a long time ago.
Yeah.
Who to know? I mean, if there'd been always a jacket hanging up on the wall, it wouldn't have caught my eye, but it did do, didn't it? It's like the London bus that people are seeing on the cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. In the middle of London, that would have just been everyday sighting, wouldn't it? So was it a mimic? I don't know.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because you think to yourself, if it's the residue of spirit, why is it portraying a coat hanger? I get it, and I think you're closer to it with something that's trying to mimic something, but then it shows you the lack of connection between what it would mean to the person viewing it. And do you know what I mean? Because obviously you'd no connection to that jacket, but
nothing at all.
But I mean, we don't know what emotional state the person who used to wear that were in. I know it's a big stretch, isn't it? Is somebody laughing then? Did you hear that?
No, I think it's a bit of feedback.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. We don't know. There's got to be some significance to it, hasn't there? But I don't know. People in chat, what do you think? But go on.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Andy H. Spoke to my uncle on the oil rigs. He said he sees up to 5 or 6 times a day, UFOs, 5 or 6 times a day, every trip. He told me of a couple of fascinating stories.
I bet, Andy, I'd love to speak to him. I've got a couple of people on oil rigs between here and Whitby who'll get in touch with me, and they're seeing these orbs, and and they've sent me audio recordings of from different agencies who'll tell you that these things don't exist, asking them to look for them. Look out. Have you seen any of these unusual things? It's interesting.
Yeah. And let's have a look. David Barker. Someone who goes into a field with a metal detector and finds hidden treasure. You guys go out on them cliffs and find strangeness. Respect to all of you.
Thank you, David. And very, very, very good here. And Dave's in a spot with great views, looking over towards Speeton. And I'm going to have to come up and see you if possible, Dave, this week or next week. Let me know when it's suitable for you, where we can put them cameras. I'd appreciate it. One will do.
Okay. And here's a question that pops up now and then. And I know we were talking about it yesterday at the dinner table for some period. It's a question from Richard Mason. Hi, Paul. Have you ever thought about hosting an event in Yorkshire? I'm sure it would be popular.
Yeah, it's been mentioned loads of times, Richard. And Les mentioned it tonight, funnily enough. We were talking about it tonight. Chris Turner's mentioned it. And I'm sure, we've got nearly 300 people in chat. Just I don't know. You can't give us a thumbs up. Just give us a number 1 on your keyboard if you'd be interested in a conference in Yorkshire. Out of interest, just press number 1 or something silly like that. You don't have to do it as a sentence. But yeah, I'm sure there'd be a big interest in it. Just for amount of content that you'd be able to throw out there.
And what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that, Lenny?
I think it'd be a good idea. We spoke about it quite a few times, but we don't know where everybody's based, do we? So we can't please everybody. It's like the chap I was speaking to yesterday. He'd come down from Inverness, and now some other people have come from London and further afield. Mm-hmm. I think people, even if it's here or wherever, people will travel or people will come to see it. It's a good idea.
You're right, Ian, because we spoke to Tonya this morning before we left, who's in chat.
Yeah.
She's travelled 7 hours. And I'm presuming same distance, same time frame, probably longer to get home if traffic were bad. And she sat here tonight listening to us, Jan, on. And so thank you. We really appreciate that. But a 7-hour journey, and you've still got sort of an appetite to listen to this. And we aren't really telling out profound tonight, guys, are we? But
and I think just to follow on from that, it'd be interesting to know what people want from a conference. You know, who do they want to hear? What stories do they want? Do they want personal stories? Do they want historical accounts? What is it they want?
Yeah.
So
yes.
if you just drop in the chat, what kind of angle a conference could come from?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, some people want, they want the lectures, don't they? Some people like the data and whatever. Personally, I don't. People want stories, whatever. So yeah, it's a good point that just put it in the chat what people would like to hear and see, and some maybe a form of interaction with the speakers, maybe.
I see Rick Bennett there as well. Chris Outdoors, Cal Dan, Mark. I can't even pronounce it. There's a lot of letters. And Lisa, sorry. And here we go.
Medusa, Night People was amazing. I found it rather scary.
Thank you. And there's a few people said that. And a lady in chat, Dragonborn, read Night People recently. Where is it? I'll never give up an opportunity to brag about this book. And she said it made her cry. So I didn't. Obviously, I'm not happy that you cried, but obviously you're hitting a nerve. You're touching some. If that's the effect it has on somebody, and
Rick Bennett is starting Night People tonight.
Okay, Rick. Yeah, and I hope you find it interesting.
Yeah, brilliant. So just at this point, then we'll just might as well do a bit of self promotion here, Paul.
I don't think I've ever mentioned this before.
You don't think you've mentioned that?
So Truth Proof books, as we say every week, they're available on truthproof.uk, or if you want the Kindle downloads, they're on Amazon. You can also, if you're going to buy them up for overseas, please use the link that's on eBay because we can send them through global shipping. The Wolflands DVD is also available, truthproof.uk. Same procedure if you want to buy it overseas. And I think that's about where we're at with it, really, isn't it? There'll be something else I've forgot, really, but I don't think so. So, yeah, all good. And I say every week, if you're interested in the cryptid subject and you want to see a deep personal look at genuine witnesses talking about what they've seen and experienced, watch Wolflands. Seriously.
Yeah, Amazon Prime to rent or buy. And,
That's what I did. Amazon Prime, yeah.
That's it, yeah. And, so, okay.
Thank you.
We've done that a little bit.
And one more thing. If you're new to the channel, please have a go at pressing the like and subscribe because, it costs nothing and it just supports us a little bit. Thank you.
And I think Lee put a little bit of data in tonight. We're at 4.2k subscribers and slowly growing. But if you tell more people, spread it around, share
it, and just obviously we're in a similar circle, aren't we, guys? We're all interested in the same subject, so you'll have friends who are interested in it. And if you haven't done already, just share these chats and these live streams and the guests we have on, because I'm sure that people outside of this want to hear it.
Right, Andy the Ghost Whisperer is putting a proposition to you. Could you do a podcast around your talk from yesterday? Same with Linny on the subjects you talked about yesterday for the people unable to get there yesterday. A lot of yesterdays in there, Andy.
Yeah, I dare say we can, Andy. And I know you were very busy. Busiest time of year for you, mate. And it would have been lovely to have seen you, but hopefully you'll get up onto the cliff top shortly. And anybody wanting to see any incredible ghost walks, the ghost whisperer and walks around Durham, Andy Ross, can't praise him enough. Top man, genuine giant of a man, but imposing when you're all dressed up in that outfit. And absolutely great. So let's see some more of that. He's been on Truth Proof as well.
He certainly has, yeah. And if he wants to come back on at any point, just get in touch with us.
Yep.
Right then, let's have a look. Just collecting a few more. We'll just probably get through about half a dozen more. Right. I hadn't pre-read this one. What does it say? Neil, Paul, I still need you to info about the orange orb seen over the crow's nest in 2015. Great channel. Listen every day. Thanks, guys.
Right. Well, I'll be back on with that then, Neil. Give me another kick up the backside, and we'll get onto it, and we'll try and cover it on here.
Yeah, and just for the people who don't know, the crow's nest is it a campsite, caravan site, or whatever it is?
I think we're talking about near
Farley. Near Farley.
Near Farley, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just writing it down now.
Okay, let's have a look. What we've got here. The reason I asked, said Richard Mason, is that you have a ton of info from the east coast of Yorkshire. Just think it would be a no-brainer.
This is regarding the conference. Yeah, absolutely. But then that would throw it away from what we've just asked. Who do you want to speak? Because there's not everybody in Yorkshire that would speak. I mean, I know Philip Mantle's not been well, so I'm not sure he'd be speaking at conferences in the future. But there's a ton of info, and you'd probably only need 5 or 6 speakers. But you'd probably have to field it out and get people from outer area. But what type of subjects? Would it be multi-phenomena? I think looking at our audience, it would be, because we try to cater for everybody. Or what do you think, Ian?
I mean, personally, I can only cover what I sort of like know about. It's, you know what I mean? But yeah, people might want people in another type of subjects, dowsing, ghosts, you know what I mean? Also undersea stuff, sort of thing that
crop circles.
Yeah, we know about, but none of us are experts. Far from it, are we? So
no, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah,
and I met a lovely woman yesterday, Maeve, who I spoke for dowsing. I think you met her, and I think Ian did. She's part of a dowsing group, a real big one in UK, and she came up speaking because it's years since that I spoke to them, on their group, and I think we need to get her on here talking about dowsing and their experiences and how they go about it, because like Ian's just said, that none of us are experts, but some of us have more knowledge about certain things, should we say, than others, and she's got a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, you need someone who knows what in a specific field what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, probably we'll go a couple of minutes on this question from Chris Outdoors. What's your thoughts on the smaller orbs, stroke spheres in the sky, being a propulsion source?
I don't know, Chris. Would it be any different to bigger orbs, or do you think there's some structured craft inside the bigger light source? Because I don't know. I mean, we see some really unusual, and I'll shut up in a minute and let Ian finish on this. We see some really unusual lights up on the cliff tops. I know we have to keep relating to that, but if that's the place that we spend a lot of time, that's what we've got to reference. And even small orbs in grass. When me and Pete, who's probably listening to this, saw a red orb traveling along cliffs, literally downside at cliffs, and then come up and over and onto land. Little red orb. They were intent. It didn't just crash into rocks and disappear, like a bubble. Imagine child bubble blowing and it just disappears. This definitely knew where it wanted to go. And so there's got to be a propulsion course and an intent. So I don't know. What's your views, Ian?
Whether it's a propulsion thing or not, I don't know, but we've seen from real big ones to them real little tiny things that are like a little fairy light. That's just there. I mean, we spoke about it yesterday, not briefly. There was the green one that was coming along the path that we thought was Alex's headlight. I mean, what was that? Yeah, and that's just a small, tiny little green thing just moving about. I mean, what is it?
And we all saw it. I mean, this is where we need more time. That light were moving along the path, and we thought it was the dull glow of Alex's headlight. When it's switched off, it just glows green. And we've said it before, but me and Jeremy went to look for him because he didn't arrive.
Yeah, that's for some of the bigger things that we've seen up there. I mean, the one that we've filmed recently, and like that thing that you filmed on the Saturday that was in the clouds, that was enormous.
It was huge violet-y, blue purple light. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Is that an accumulation of them all? Are these little things that
Right.
come off? You know, like you said earlier on the journey home about the ants' nests in the forests that are just a massive like volcano of energy. But then if you had the little ant on its own, it's just a tiny little thing. Are they all one thing that spreads out all over the place? So what? Who's to know?
Right.
Viewing the ants nest, and I know Les wants to close this down because he's got to go. What Ian's meaning is when you view an ants nest in the night through a thermal, it just looks like a volcano. These huge ants nests. But I think
Great show tonight,
time,
guys. Thanks, and I got to thank, and we've all got to thank everybody who we met at the conference yesterday. And great info. And hope you enjoyed the little few clips we put together. You might have seen yourself on there if you attended. But yeah, great.
Thank you, Les. Thanks, Ian.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.